Ladies and gentlemen, yes. Sorry for the wait. Excuse us for the wait. Um, welcome to the Detroit Pistons edition of the East Meets West live show, ladies and gentlemen. We won't put a number on this. It's just live. This is the
Live edition.
Detroit Pistons edition. Yeah, so I guess we'll jump right into it. Like I'm the one that's actually not excited, but Con is. So we
Dude.
we we extended Cade. We signed Tobias Harris. There you go, iPad. There you go.
Okay.
Do it for me.
I mean,
Do it for me.
when you put it like that, okay, it sounds kind of underwhelming. Kind of sounds underwhelming, but I just think that, I mean, obviously the Cade extension was very much to be expected.
Yeah.
But still, there are a number of things that I don't think we're necessarily reading into, but things that we can kind of project from this extension now being agreed upon. So, I'm sure a lot of everyone who's already tuned in, Cade, he signed the rookie max extension, 5 years, $226 million. I don't know. Maybe Detroit fans, you're still wanting more. I mean, that is the investment, right? It's both a reward for what you've done or what you've shown, but also you're projecting, what he'll be capable of achieving, in these next 5 years. That's how it's always been done. I think there's just always sticker shock, amongst fan bases for their respective rookies. First of all, let's make it clear. If you are getting a max extension, like more often than not,
Right.
that means you've done something really well on your rookie contract. Like, even if you want to make fun, like you could go back and be like, oh, but Conrad, look at Ben Simmons. This is the worst contract. Yeah, but when he got it, before whatever he's going through physically, mentally, and I'm not even trying to make fun of Ben Simmons. All I'm saying is at the time, right? Yeah, at the time, he was an all-star, all-NBA. I'm not sure if he made all-NBA, but he was right there in the mix. He was definitely the runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. He made all defensive teams. Let's not act like, all these GMs are incompetent. Of course, right? They were hoping and, thinking that trajectory would continue, right? But you're getting it for a reason. So to bring it back to Cade, if your highly drafted rookie is not getting, like, not even necessarily a max extension, just no extension, then that's a problem, right?
Wiseman.
You want. There you go. We'll get to Big Jim. But there was good news for Big Jim today, right?
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, in terms of that, I think even though this was to be expected, I think this is a really good thing. In terms of the financials of it, it's actually really interesting. And unless the Pistons did not report it, I don't want to say correctly, but like, for example, Scotty Barnes, right?
Yeah.
Cade's draft peer, I believe they were even like high school teammates, right?
Did he play with Scotty? I don't think so.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, high school.
Yeah, high school, right? Scotty, Moses Moody.
A lot of Persian. I think so.
Right. All I'm saying is Scotty Barnes signed the same thing, 5 years, 226. However, that is the minimum he's making, right? If Scotty Barnes, right, the true, right, the designated rookie max extension, if Scotty Barnes makes an all NBA team or, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, his max then goes up to 5,270. There is no language, as far as I can tell, and listeners, if I'm wrong, please let us know. There is no language saying that Cade has that escalator, meaning that, like, obviously we want him to be an all NBA player, but I mean, right? Like, there is more.
Let me add, because I wanted to add when you said that he's done something good to receive it. And it's just something I noticed, and that's just he's 5% off of 50. He's 4% off of 90. Or no, he's 4% off of 40. He's 3% off of 90. 50, 40, 90.
Right.
5, 4, 3. Just percentage points. So
correct.
I mean, he's arguably going to be in that along with those individuals, especially getting shooters around them, that the assist number goes up easily. His free throw just got to go up just a little bit, and then you would think that he would have better shots. He's getting stronger, so he'll be able to get to the rim better. So he's deserving of it, and I think he does actually have to elevate. I think it, but
yes,
in order to be the best version of yourself, you need teammates around you. Like we seen LeBron and Wade shoot arguably their best percentages when they played together. You know what I'm saying?
correct.
So yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted to say that since you mentioned his contract.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. So all I'm saying is, right, I mean, we want Cade to be all NBA. We want him to be in MVP discussions. But even if he is, like, let's just, again, if we're thinking optimistically, I'm a glass half full kind of guy.
Right.
Glass half full. Okay. Like, I believe some of the other guys, some of the other highly drafted players on your team, maybe not maxes, but they are definitely going to be core pieces moving forward. And what I'm saying is when it's time to extend them, right? Like that enables there to be a little bit more wiggle room, right? Where you're not pressed up against like the first apron or anything like that. You still have the flexibility to maintain all these guys, right? We want these guys to be deserving of these contracts, right? If they're like being just let go and not offered, or, not tendered a qualifying offer, something probably went wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think it's really good. And I think, it is Cade's team. It's Cade's team.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? Like, until further notice, like it is. And I think that's a good thing. I think some people, again, just because it's what we were saying last episode, you look at the record of the Pistons and you assume that because they have failed as a team, that Cade is the root of the failure, right? Because like he's kind of the face of the franchise. I mean, I think that is a very obtuse way of looking at things. Yeah.
I mean, the responsibility always goes on the star player. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people during this season were like, well, you are the number one pick and we're going to give you a max contract. So we actually expect you to be the one that's preventing us from going 0-28 over the course of 28 games. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's you got to look at we look at the little things like Detroit. Yeah. The city knows Monty. Yeah, it was Monty. We were starting Killian over Ivy. Ivy was in the doghouse. Like I could relive it, but no, I just wish October would hurry up and
there you go.
At this point.
Obviously, as Monty Williams' tenure showed, that even if he got a 6-year deal, right? 6-year deal, right? Even if you get a multi-year deal, head coach, it really doesn't mean anything, right? Like,
I mean, hell no. If the Celtics is damn near getting $1 billion for, $1 billion, was it $1 billion? 900 million between what? Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Drew, Derek White. Like if you could drop a bill on not even a whole 12, then
yes,
nobody cares about 100 mil.
Exactly, that is very true. I meant more to that like you can fire a coach anytime.
Yeah,
let's be real, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh well, like like Tom Gores, he just showed that like, I mean, you're not fulfilling your duty. Like, no, you're not. You're gonna cut your losses. You're gonna eat that money, right? You're just
kind
dead
of
money.
Flex. It's kind of a flex.
But it is, right? I mean,
you're like, 85 mil, whatever, go home.
Hey, I mean, that should show potential, future free agents that he's not afraid of spending money. So, I mean, again, that also should show a commitment. Again, if we're being optimistic here, to the players, right? Like, hey, I'm going to work my butt off. He's not going to be afraid to like give me the max contract as long as the CBA allows it. Right?
Yeah.
So, and again, not to contradict ourselves, I'm just saying like, okay, 5-year extension for Cade, 5-year contract for JB.
I mean,
right?
Yeah,
like, hey,
right? Timeline.
Because, I mean, I don't think the Pistons are going to turn this around overnight, right? But I think substantial strides can be made this season. And again, it's like, even if they're like a mid-30s to 41 win team, right? Like 500 team, basically.
I wish. Right? Speaking into existence. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And let's just say they find themselves kind of like on the outside looking in of the play-in picture. Kind of like basically what the Rockets ended up being like, right? 41.
Right there,
40, that's obviously a huge improvement. It's a huge success, right? But you need time to let it continue growing. And I'd like to think that, you know, I mean, Cade and JB's contracts are irrespective of each other, but I mean, they are conveniently aligned, right? Where this partnership can grow. And ideally, all the other guys on the team, they're coming along for the ride.
Right.
You know? So
I see it like, as far as the ability for us to make a jump, like I think we actually had the opportunity to really win 35 games. If I look at last season's roster, like, okay, well, what if Monty did it right? You know what I mean? Like, what if?
Yeah.
I mean, because they actually had a year together. Like, it wasn't a significant. Like, Cade was healthy. Ivy was. I mean, we were healthy for the most part. We had a few hiccups with Durham, but but we were healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this team is not coming from, oh, Cade got hurt, now it's Ivy and Durham running the show, and then Ivy has to get assimilated with Cade coming back in, but being the number one guy. You know what I mean? So we have that already in place and out of the way. So now JB could come in like, oh, well, he did this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, that wrong. You know, and a lot of people, because I was happy with the hire, but a lot of people are pointing out like, oh, well, this and that and this and that. But then I've seen some highlights like, oh, well, he took this team from, what was it, like 22 games to 33 wins, or some with the Cavs too that was positive. Just like a lot of things that look up. So I think that we have the pieces in place, especially depending on what else happens, because we'll probably come with another update for y'all if the Pistons do something else. Yes. But yeah, please do something else. Hell, Brooke Lopez. But if we do something else, then we'll really see potentially more. You know what I mean? Because it's like we cut off all the fat. Like Wiseman's gone, and you know what I mean? Like it's a lot of the just extra names. Evan Fournier, he's gone. So we're not doing the juggle and act where Monty's playing down 10, 11 man rosters. You know what I mean? Starting Killian Hayes, like we won't have that start to the beginning of the season. And it looked good for the first two games. Like we was getting out, throwing alley-oops, running out, posturing, all that. You know what I mean? And then it was just like, oh, you won two games? Oh, okay. How does this feel? You yeah, another loss. And then it just stacked up. Domino. But yeah, I think we are actually in a better place than we think. And I think we're just, at least me personally, like I'm depressed.
You're depressed right now after these news, or you're just been depressed from this past season? Like you're depressed in this moment right now?
And then I come from, like I used to have people around me that used to want the Tobias Harrises, the DJ Augustines. You know who you are, bro. What's up? If he watching by chance, but you know they used to want. It's like they wanted everything that I knew wouldn't work. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, no, I don't want Tobias Harris. I see what he's doing in Orlando. I don't want Tobias Harris. Pistons signed Tobias Harris. Oh, okay, we got Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris, 20 points, 22 points. Tobias Harris, 7 points. Tobias Harris, 8 points. Okay. Like, okay, now let's fast forward that. So 2024, we got Tobias Harris. He's a veteran now. He's not going to get the responsibility of a 1 or 2 option lunged onto him this time around. So, I think he'll be able to be a good vet, you know, score in bunches and do his thing that he does. And then we just need to not look at him like, okay, well, it's the end of a game. We need you to close out.
Right.
We still, in my opinion, and what I was believing is that the next step for Cade specifically is to be a closer. You know what I mean? If Cade can close like a Chris Paul or something like that, because we were competing in a lot of games. We just couldn't close. You know what I mean? Right. So that's the next step in his progression that I think needs to happen. But let me not get too far off topic. Tobias Harris, right? Yeah. I just want to see what he can do at this point with this team, what veteran savvy he has and education that he could pass down to our young players and what comes from it. You know what I mean? I feel like we need like one more piece, but I guess I'll take it. Like it is what it is. He's better than what we had, so I'll take it.
Yes.
What's your thoughts? Because you're happy about him.
Well, no. Okay, so again, all right, on our last episode, it's ironic, right? It's ironic that we listed all these potential free agents that we would maybe like to see the Pistons assign, and it's hilarious that the one that you were adamantly against is the one that they got.
That we signed, yeah.
Right. But yeah. So I mean, again, I think everyone knows by now. Tobias Harris, he rejoins the Pistons on a 2-year, $52 million deal. No options, no player option, no team option.
Right.
So I mean, all things considered, a very tradable contract, right? Again, like he kind of did the Bruce Brown thing, right? Because I remember what we were saying last time. I felt like he would have, if he went to another team, Tobias that is, to get something more than 2 years, the AAV would have to have been lower, right? I would have had him somewhere close to, like, again, Malik Monk's range. Just try to, bring him somewhere there.
Yeah.
So did the Pistons overpay? I mean, you can make an argument, yes, but it's not to a point where he isn't
movable.
Tradable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I actually think he fits with a lot of what may potentially happen this season. You know what I mean? Or next offseason where, hell, I can't say now because with him signing out, he can't get traded till what, December 15th, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, okay, never mind. Let's throw it out.
But I mean, if you think about it, right, you look at the lack of, I mean, we're kind of jumping ahead, but I'm just saying in terms of making him as a tradable asset.
Yeah.
For example, you're seeing the lack of activity from some of the projected contending teams, right? Like the Nuggets, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Heat, right? Yeah. They really don't have the means to acquire free agents in this price range, right? But they can trade for one when these guys are trade eligible. Tobias would fit that mold. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
And again, if they find themselves in a good competitive position, the Pistons could probably flip them again, acquire more assets. It's not just kicking the can down the road. You know what I'm saying? I do believe he'll have an encore impact, but I mean, if we find ourselves in that situation, this isn't, knock on wood, it's not going to be an albatross of a contract, barring any catastrophic injury to Tobias, right? Like he is tradable. And going back to it, like even after we did our segment on Sunday, but with our preview, I mean, the thing about Tobias is like you said, I think it's just the perception of him as it related to that past contract, that at the time, it was literally the max possible that they could offer him. And the Sixers, right, they paid him thinking he could be like a second option.
Let me pull this up.
Go
ahead. Keep going in.
Trying to pull up numbers?
No, I'm just trying to pull in something, a screenshot that I took.
Okay.
Talking about Tobias. You could keep on going in on him, though. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm not going. I'm just saying that, like, all things considered, like, even if you say, like, oh, he's a playoff choker. Mm-hmm. Well, what do we just say right now, right? Like, of course, we'd want to make the playoffs, but even if we don't, we want to show substantial improvement in the regular season. Great. He's a great regular season player. He will help you do that, right? As we said last time, which is why I know I was
going with this, because that's where I was going.
Go ahead.
9 points in the playoffs, but 17.2 in the regular season.
Yeah. See? There you go. If the entire world is saying that the Pistons aren't going to make the playoffs, then what does it matter? Right?
I mean, hell, that this is all going to be lunged on him, but I know what I've seen from him when things are lunged on him. Like,
and again,
when Reed has gone down, you listen to me and Chuck on the other pod, and I used to say, what? Like, I need Tobias Harris to do this and do that, and she's like, oh, well, I've been attacking Tobias Harris for a long time.
Right.
Like,
and again,
he was a Sixer.
I think it was also his mentality at the time, right? Especially when you're younger, you're still trying to figure out who you are. What is your place? Like, even like outside of basketball, right? All of us, right? We're trying to find, like, who are we? What is our place in the world, right? Like, what is it that we're good at,
Making commercials with Boban.
Yes, that was fun.
Let me stop going, man.
Right? No, but all I'm saying is, in his early years in the NBA, even going back to his Milwaukee and Orlando days, right? Like, I'm sure he did fancy himself as a number one option, Now, I think in a way, having played with Embiid, having played with Maxey, even having played with Harden, especially actually when he was with Harden, right? Like that was a pretty successful like year. I mean, he was going off as a fourth option, basically. You know, what I'm saying is I think his mentality has changed. I think he understands how to be efficient, how to be productive, you know, in that role. Like he's not trying to force anymore to try to take over games, right? He's letting it come naturally to him. And again, I think he's coming to the situation with the understanding that, right, like Cade is like the number one of this team, or at the very least, like he is the lead dog of this team. And
I mean,
you know,
Tobias might be number 5 this time around.
I mean, he could be number 5. I still think on any given lineup, he's probably
the glue guy.
Second or third scoring option. But you're not necessarily, right? Like in terms of the pecking order of like where the ball has to go through, right? Like he might not actually touch the ball as much. He may get more field goal attempts, right, than say like Duren. But I feel like the ball, if I know JB Bickerstaff, the ball is going to go through Duren a lot more, you know, or whoever is at center.
Almighty.
Yes, I've told you, right?
Yes.
And we'll get to that too. But like, like we got to start maximizing what these guys do. And Duren, like his passing out of like the high post is really good. I think Pistons, you all know that, right? If you actually pay attention, the opportunities he has gotten, you know. Yeah. But anyway, going back to what we were saying last week, I mean, okay, it's not who we're looking to get. I think, I'm with you. If we were going for like a power forward, Jalen Smith would have been a nice option. Jalen Smith ended up going to Chicago, 3 years, $27 million, I believe. So we actually predicted his contract, AAV and years correctly. He just didn't go to the right team. Okay. And to be fair, my pick, Najee Marshall, we also said 3 years, $27 million. That's what he got. He ended up going to Dallas. So whoops, you know.
Just nobody wants to go to Detroit. That's that.
Well,
garbage.
I don't know. Like I said, but in terms of, it still applies to Tobias Harris, to what we were saying on Sunday, that the Pistons, prior to him signing, they do lack a true power forward. Now, you can make an argument Tobias isn't a true power forward. He's still more of a combo forward. But I mean, the last several years of his career, like I would say like the last 3 years of his Sixers career or tenure, he was exclusively playing at the 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a power forward, which I think is actually a lot better, right?
For us,
for the Pistons, like because again, I commend. I think it's really good how well Stewart and Duren were able to play together, but it's not an ideal pairing. You know what I'm saying? Like they made it work, but they're better when each of them are the exclusive 5. Tobias can play with both of them. And I feel like that'll actually maximize both of their skill sets, you know?
I don't know, because a lot of people feel like Stewart is an undersized 5, and they would prefer that he not play the 5. And I was one that was 2 years ago saying he should play the 3 a little bit. You know what I mean? Like stretch him out to the 3. I mean, yeah. But then I said his 3-pointer is going to improve, and then his 3-pointer started improving. He should play against 3s only when we're playing against certain teams, because we didn't have SR at the time when I was saying it's like put him on their best player. You know what I mean? Or the best player that's like a huge 3, like a LeBron, a Paul George, just throw him to the Wolves. What is he gonna do other than improve? And I was coming from seeing like a lot of summertime videos and just him doing other things other than having to play a role on the Pistons. I started seeing him on different like playgrounds and recreational and just in different gyms and stuff like that. I started seeing tape of that, and I'm just like, well, hell, you know what I mean? I seen him shooting 3s and all of that. I'm like, well, if he has that, then why are we not trying to tap into it? You know what I mean? So here we are, and he has actually improved his 3-pointer, and I don't let Stewart, like a lot of people want Stewart to get traded. I'm not trading him because
I saw your poll. No.
No. And it's just like, he's the heart of this team. Like if we lose him, we lose our dog. A lot of teams need dogs. You know what I mean? Like somebody has to come in and you could be a silent dog like a Drew Holiday, or you could be extra loud, like Draymond hemming up Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? Putting them in the headlock from hell.
I mean,
but Stewart is what he is, and shout out to Drew E. We ain't gonna say his whole name. I don't want him getting mad about it, but
he is. Oh yeah, he like personality wise, yes, he is who he is, and I love him for that. Yeah. I wouldn't want him to change.
I know, okay, right?
I mean, you clocked Drew Eubanks. I'm not sure what that was about, but like, hey, maybe you had your reasons.
And the city needs that representation. Like Stewart serves as that. Like before that, we had like Ndamukong Suh for the Lions, and we were imposing. You know what I mean? We had an intimidation factor, or at least you knew we weren't going to stand down because we had him. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I keep Stewart, and he's been improving. So what more do we want from him? To be a damn superstar? Like, man, just relax.
No, and again, see, there you go, right? Stewart, going back to our conversation, he wasn't like a first round pick or anything. Or he was a first round pick, but he wasn't like the first overall pick, right? He was like in the teens. Right. Was it like 17 or something like that? 16?
No, I think it was lower than that.
Was it?
Or no, it might have been 17. It might have been 17.
Yeah.
I'm
Point being, though, is again, he got a rookie extension, not a max extension, but it's proportional to what the level of production that he was providing. Right. And that's what I'm saying, right? You want your players to be doing that. You want them to be being offered extensions. That means they're doing something well. And the only thing I would not necessarily push back on, but like with the whole Stewart thing, sort of kind of reminds me of the Pacers, Miles Turner and Sabonis situation.
No.
No. I'm not saying stylistically, right? Like there is this. Let me finish.
On a trade block for years.
No. I'm saying like when the two of them were on the team together, Turner and Sabonis, right? And they basically played alongside each other in the front court. There was this perception of Miles Turner that he was always camped out on the wing or on the perimeter because he had no inside game.
Right.
And that's wrong.
Right.
He had to change his game, right, to accommodate for the fact that Sabonis is the one who couldn't shoot for shit.
Right.
Okay?
At the time. Yeah.
Now, Durant has more potential, I think, as at least being more consistent. I mean, and to Sabonis' credit, he did get better over the years. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, I think in order to make their pairing work, Stewart, who had more of a semblance of a three-pointer, had to take his game majority, like, to the outside in order, because let's be real, Durant is probably the better rim runner between the two of them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What I'm saying, though, is Stewart does have some post moves. And that's what I'm saying. Now, a guy like Tobias, Beef Stew does not have to be exclusively on the arc or behind the arc. See, you could actually have some sets for him that get him right in the low post, get him in the paint, because you now have Tobias at the 4 who can provide that spacing,
Yeah.
So, because until further notice, and again, whether you want to call Tobias a 3 or a 4, Asar, Ron, am I missing anyone? I mean, those specifically two, I project them to be more like 3s, like they're forwards. And
I think
until those percentages,
forward,
but until those percentages go up, Fred Vinson, please, right? Like they're gonna need someone like Tobias. Otherwise, the rest of the things that they do well, ball handling, playmaking, cross screening, that's all going to be useless, right? If teams start like packing the paint on them, So
Ivy too, for that matter. But I know you're talking positionally right now, though.
Yeah. No, so I'm saying that's why I think for the time being, in terms of their player development, each individually and collectively, yes. If I have to make the case, yes, Tobias is a good pickup. It is in terms of, again, because it's not like we're not bringing him in. Like when Stan Van Gundy traded for him, right? Yeah. Like he traded for him with the understanding that, okay, this is another guy that could help put us back over, like get us up the standings, right? Yeah. I mean, still we want Tobias to help do that, but now it's more like, Tobias, can you help elevate? Can you help, right, accelerate the development of these guys around you? And I think if that is now like the front office's goal for him, I think he's more than
and that's
to do
kind
that.
of calling back to what we've been. You know what I mean? Like when we got Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, and like all the vets that we were getting at that time, Corey Joseph. Well, he didn't get moved so quickly like the rest, but we
Yeah.
brought in vets and then we damn near traded them like at the deadline, or we moved them at the end of the season. You know what I mean? Well, not so much Blake and D Rose. Like they stayed a little longer, but we ended up letting them go wherever they wanted to after they served their purpose in trying to develop us in, I guess, what would have been then stage one of we have this core, we got Killian, we got, you know what I mean, and we're trying to build them up. So here we are, but we're kind of still down that same road. I'm not sure how far we've progressed. You know what I mean? So at some point we got to stop doing that. You know what I mean? We got to stop saying, oh, well, we need so and so to come in, or we need so and so. We need to turn it to the damn Thunder. We need to turn it to, or we need to get somebody who has enough, like, I guess not necessarily like where they're just the craziest, greatest veteran, like a Fred VanVleet to a Houston, where he goes over there, they go through whatever they go through early on, they get their coach in, and then he helps transform that team entirely. Like we seen Alfred Shingun go crazy, we seen Jalen Green get more consistent. We seen just pretty much the whole team. The floor got raised. You know what I mean? So we need a veteran like that, as opposed to, oh, Tobias is only going to be able to make such and such better, and he's not going to help elevate the team floor. Because at some point we gotta like take a leap, like OKC. And I know we haven't had a Chris Paul drop off knowledge onto a Cade the way he did for SGA, but at some point we're gonna need, just if we're gonna do the whole we need veterans thing, then that veteran that we are looking for needs to come raise the floor and the ceiling of this team.
Right.
Or we're just gonna be on the same damn cycle. You know what I mean? Like forever.
I mean, and this is why I know any fan base, but especially Pistons, yeah, you want to see some results ASAP. Mm-hmm. And I get that, but it's just the only thing I would say is that specifically the guys that you've drafted and that the front office is committed to moving forward with. Yeah. They're all very raw.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem, right? Like
it is.
It's like what you just said about Houston. I think that is coming. I think it's just 1 year away. It could be this year if all things go right. But like I feel like it's more like 1 year away, right? You're setting yourselves up then to bring in more of those guys to start really putting it all together, where it's all manifesting, like you said, right? It's not just skill development, but actually, right, like mental development, right? You're now processing the game correctly so that you can close games, right? It's all that is what I'm saying, right? But right now, I feel like it's just some guys, like, I mean, it's not that they're incompetent or anything, that they don't know how to, anything about basketball, right?
It just might be basketball IQ.
Yeah, like the nuances, they're still trying to like develop those. And then again, like really skills, whether that's shooting, ball handling, all kinds of stuff, defensive positioning. Like you see what they're all capable of in terms of the tools, right? Like we said back about, I
mean, then it would help if we maintain a coach as well. Like we can't go from Ivy and Duran had Casey to Cade, Ivy and Duran had Monty to here we go again. Now we got JB. We can't.
I mean,
that's part of it because the roles change within. Like we'll have the same core, but there are roles that keep changing. You know what I mean?
I mean, going back to what you said last episode, again, free agency is not just limited to players. It is coaching staff, as we saw with JB Bickerstaff. What you said last episode, right? We really need to see who he's bringing in as his coaching staff.
Yeah.
To bring it back to like, say, like my Warriors, when they brought in, may he rest in peace, Dejan Milojevic, right? He was most known prior to coming to the NBA was he was the guy that developed Nikola Jokic, in EuroLeague. Like,
Right.
he was, the guy who really not just coached him, but actually like helped him develop,
Yeah.
Dejan, I mean, he helped even our veteran bigs. Like, you saw like the strides Looney made. Looney had already been in the league for like what, 7 years, 6 years, and right, he made a big leap.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like even veterans or older, younger or whatever, I'm saying, like younger veterans. Younger veterans is probably the better way to say it, right?
What you mean.
Yeah. Like they can still make significant strides. These are the things that I think, should be a priority for Trojan Landon and the front office to be looking to do moving forward. Because after the Hardaway, the acquisition of Tim Hardaway Jr. and signing Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
And I mean, technically, you guys also, not technically, you also acquired Wendell Moore, right?
Yeah.
In the Bobby Clintman trade. But he's not taking up much cap space, right?
Yeah.
I think you guys still have about 21 million or so, give or take.
21. I think it's 24.
Yeah. Which basically like you could still bring in some substantial pieces, whether that's acquiring someone via trade, or the remaining free agents. What's interesting though is, in terms of just the entire broad landscape of this free agency, which by the way has gone at a snail's pace,
Yeah.
Like you remember those, like the prior CBA at like the stroke of midnight, like all the woke bombs, man. Look at this, man. We're like on day 3 and jack shit's happening. Well, I mean, like a couple stuff has happened.
It was a different type of like movement. It was a lot of teams either chasing after trying to chase a LeBron-led team or trying to match the Warriors. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not that anymore. Like arguably the Celtics won, but how many people think that the Celtics weren't truly contested on their way? You know what I mean? What if the Knicks were fully healthy? What if it was this Knicks team now and they're fully healthy? What if it's, you know what I mean, the Pacers fully healthy? You know what I mean? Do they get a couple more games? Like, so we don't. What if Giannis was healthy? You know what I mean? So and they managed to get past the Pacers to begin with. What if Jimmy Butler was like? So we don't know. Like, things aren't done, and I think it's a lot of teams now. Also, the CBA isn't the same. It's like the old guard is coming in. They're passing the baton to the new guard, but the new guard is having to deal with the rules, kind of getting scaled back a little bit. So players can't just say, "Oh, well, I'm going over here. You need to bring him over here, and then he coming too." You know what I mean? Or somebody just force. Like, you're not going to get another Kawhi saying, "I'm going to LAC," but you got to get Paul George there if I'm going, and James Harden coming over here too.
It's every man for themselves, man.
Yeah, like I don't know that that's gonna, outside of trade exceptions, I don't know that that's gonna happen again. But I don't know. You got anything else you want to add to the Pistons?
I mean, it tangentially relates to them. Just that, despite the snail pace of this free agency, the market for big men has completely dried up.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
like no, I'm saying free agents signing. That's a trade option, right? That's trade. Because as far as all the available bigs, whether it's Jonas Valanciunas in no particular order, right? Like Mo Bamba, like even the Mo Bambas, Drew Eubanks, right? Now, right? Pistons alum James Wiseman. Even James Wiseman got scooped up by the Indiana Pacers, which, by the way, if his career is ever going to get going, that's got to be the team to jumpstart him.
Or it's a wrap.
Yeah. And again, I wish him the best. I think we both wish him the best, right?
He's with the best team.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Because they have Siakam, they have Turner. If you can't practice with them and get it together, bro, then I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But going back to what you were saying about Isaiah Stewart Now I know the question you posed on Twitter was like, would you trade him in a package for Jarrett Allen? Well, just first period. Even though I joke about like, hey, why don't you trade Isaiah Stewart to my Warriors? Like,
give us Draymond.
I just said the market for bigs, like there is a paradigm shift going on in the NBA. Maybe it's in response to guys like Jokic, Embiid, Wembanyama, right? But the big men are being prioritized again, which is good. They're not going the way of the NFL running back, right? They're being valued again, and they are being paid appropriately. What I'm saying is, do not be so quick. The Pistons, then, all the more reason they should not be so quick to trade away, right? One of their young, promising athletic big men. Why?
Right.
Why? And even specifically, I would not trade him for Jarrett Allen.
No,
I would not. No.
Somebody made it clear. They were like Jarrett Allen that didn't want to that got yelled at by JB because he took the little rib injury and didn't want to suit up at all. Like he didn't have the dog in him. And that's why I love Isaiah Stewart, because it's like he probably would have played. You know what I mean? Like you can't teach that, man. You either got it in you got the pain threshold or tolerance, and you got it just in you to just say, I'm gonna play. You got that Iverson, that Kobe in you that's like, I don't care. What's wrong? Oh, okay, I'm gonna play. You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of play. I'm not gonna knock them like, I don't know what's wrong with your ribs. Maybe somebody could have shoved you one time and all of a sudden your ribs in your stomach and you know what I mean? Then you get one more hit and you bleeding out your stomach. I don't know the severity of it, but if you were able to play, you should have played. And I don't want a player that, if he's able to play and he just decides not to, it's just like, well, tomorrow's not promised, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Things happen. I don't want to say something that could potentially manifest, but things happen.
Going back to, remember like last episode, we said like, hey, if the Pistons tried to dip their toes into restricted free agency, what about Isaac Okoro?
Yeah.
Now with Tobias Harris, I'd probably still say no, right?
I would say yeah.
You still say yes, even with, I don't know, man. I feel like there's too much. The last thing I want is a log jam. I guess that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't want a log jam.
I mean, but if you are saying that he's a 4, and then it allows Stewart and Duran to play 5 strictly, then that means Ausar can start that way.
Yeah, but you're going to bring back Fontecchio, right? There's Fontecchio, Ausar, Ron.
But I mean, Fontecchio doesn't play defense either. So why not bring in Okoro and let him?
That's true. But
then Ausar is big enough to play 4s on D.
It's true. Point still stands though. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, like, of all people, JB Bickerstaff. I mean, I think his opinion is what matters the most, right? Like, I mean, if he's not even considering trading for or signing, like he wouldn't even be down for that, or trading for Jarrett Allen. It's probably a moot point then, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, in terms of just value, again, not to dehumanize these players, but as pure assets, right? Like both Duran and Isaiah Stewart, I think, have so much value league wide. Like if they were made available via trade, like Langdon, like his phone would be going off like nonstop, right?
See, but would it be the right offer?
I mean, again, yeah, sure. If it was a right offer, I mean, I'm not saying they're not, they're untouchable, but I mean, like, I wouldn't just so casually like, oh, like we need this position. Well, oh, look, that team's like willing to flip them. Like, okay, like, no, right? Like, you got to give me something back, like of some substance, Yeah. So,
yeah.
But
like Isaiah Stewart for 4 years ago, Jimmy Butler.
I mean, it'd probably have to be in a package, yes, but like,
but it's like, it's that type of deal that I would want back, because it's just too much. He's still what? How old is Isaiah Stewart? Probably 23 at most. Like, no, it's still too much upside. Like, it's too much potential.
Yes,
too much potential.
He just turned 23.
Yeah, exactly, bro. So, nah.
Yeah. I guess before. So I mean, for the most part, that's what the Pistons have done.
Yeah.
But again, like I said, the big man market. The fact that, I mean, the best big men. No offense to them, the best big men on the market are Dario Saric, Precious Achua, if you consider him a center, or
I
power
like
forward center.
I like Precious.
Right, Chimezi Metu, who you guys just released. That's no, I'm serious. Like that's the next best.
We did.
That's how barren it is. So let's not be so cavalier about Cavs. No pun intended. Right? About no, don't be so cavalier about just throwing your bigs in the trade machine.
The trades, yeah.
But
it's during or die.
Like again, so $21 million or 20 plus in cap space. What is there any remaining free agent that you'd still think they should target? Probably doesn't need to use the full 20. At a certain point, we're gonna hit the part where like guys are kind of accepting like minimum-ish deals.
Yeah. So. No, I'm kind of satisfied where we are. I saved this money because on top of the money we'll get at the end of next season, or hell, if I don't even look that far, there are still trades that are potentially going to be made. We don't know if these teams are satisfied with their rookies. You know what I mean? So come August, early August, they might move their rookies. You know what I mean? Whether that's second round, first round, whatever. But they may move their rookies, and some traction may get going on some type of deal. We always have a big deal in August. We always have a deal just before the season starts. So if I'm the Pistons, I just stand pat. I mean, unless we literally have something clear to gain, I stand pat. And I don't. There's no clear gains except what Lauri Markkanen. And that's a trade. You know what I mean? Lauri Markkanen. Who else might be available? I don't know. People might kill me for it, but I like Russell Westbrook. He's only $4 million. But anyway, I can't think of anybody that'll be available. You know what I mean? Like it's just Lauri Markkanen, but I don't think that we'll get him. So nope. Let me see. Miami, no. Hornets, unless they gave up Brandon Miller, but they're not dumb. I don't think there's nobody available. I mean, unless Alfred Shingun or Jalen Green got upset that the team apparently told them that they're not going to max them, like something like that, and then we can.
Or they're at least not. They're not going to extend them yet.
Yeah,
they'll let them go into restricted free agency. I think, right? At least for the time being, that's what it says, or that's what it's indicating.
There's nothing concrete, so
not even like a Brandon Ingram. I mean, that's again trade now. But since you're like talking about the possibilities of trade,
what would we have to get up to get him?
You have to match his salary, right?
I mean, and then that's what Ivy and Stewart, and you know what I mean. Unless they want THJ, I don't give up Stewart. I don't really want to. With the thing that's going on in Detroit, with what people say outside of Detroit, what we feel within the city, people don't want to come to Detroit. Jay Knightley wanted to come to Detroit. He forced his way to Detroit in the draft. So there's serious, because
I like it. I'm chuckling because I think that's cool.
His family has ties and like roots here. You know what I mean? So that alone gives him more value than most of these free agents, because they don't want to be here, or they already have forced their way here. This is almost a canvas clear team where it's like, oh, I could go over there and I can just implement myself, and then I can be a really integral part of carrying this team to that next level. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're not in position to have a Mark Aguirre or a Rasheed Wallace trade anytime soon, unless suddenly we're, winning 40-something games and we're just one trade away. I don't see that yet. But right now, Brandon Ingram.
I mean,
that's scoring.
You may not be the recipient of the star of the trade, but like I said, if a Brandon Ingram or if a Lauri Markkanen or any of these other trades, right, go down, like these star player, trades.
Yeah, we'll be a middleman.
They may need like teams like the Pistons or the Hornets, they may need some cap space teams to be the third team to help facilitate the trade.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, even if it's obviously draft picks, draft compensation that the Pistons would receive for their troubles, but you could end up getting, like I said, what we talked about, right? The cap casualties of the trade.
Yeah.
There could be some really appealing cap casualties. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, because we're that type of team where that cap
Yeah, but I
casualty
mean, like,
might help us.
the guys that are cap casualties are not, again, they're not always bad. So,
Right.
I mean, it could be intriguing. So, we'll, yeah, I guess we'll continue to, monitor free agency. If there's anything big, we'll definitely update
we'll be back.
all the Pistons fans
Yeah.
if, or at the very latest, we'll have definitely like a preview for Summer League.
Oh yeah.
Because
That's
there's
like next week. That's next week.
Next week, basically, yeah. Well, Vegas Summer League was pushed 1 week back. So it's
we usually play in Orlando Summer League anyway, though.
Yeah. So I guess maybe in the next couple of days we'll kind of do a preview there. Unfortunately, because again, you guys are allowing me to be fans of both teams, but my hometown Warriors, we actually originally had Kevin Knox on our Summer League team. No, I said originally. He had to tap out. He got hurt. Practicing. Oh my god.
When? Today?
No, it was like a day after they announced that he was on the roster. He had to report that he had a hamstring injury, practicing. I feel bad. I'll be completely clear. I've never, even when he was at Kentucky, I wasn't a big Kevin Knox fan. I just, wasn't
he
that.
He had moments. He
definitely did.
He had moments. Where I paid attention to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you could say, hey, Chucker or whatever, but dude, when you lead, an entire conference in scoring, I mean, you're doing at least a few things right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Scorer versus basketball player, they're not always synonymous. Okay, we know that, and I think he needs to work on being a better basketball player.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was interested. I gotta admit, I was interested to see him play because I will be attending the Summer League, and it's easier for me. Yeah, especially the one at Chase Center. I can just sit hella close,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he got hurt, and I wish him obviously a speedy and successful recovery. But it's we're critical, but we want to see these guys succeed. So it's just
it's the Warriors' problem now, no longer the Pistons.
Well, I mean, he's already been replaced on the roster, So I mean, so yeah. All right, man.
Pistons fans, Pistons loyal, we'll be back with more when more news becomes available. Please pray. Somebody do a prayer circle and post it on Twitter and pray for something for us, man, because those things seem to work for real. That's how we got Cade. But
Ron Holland, Rookie of the Year. Ron Holland, Rookie of the Year.
That's actually realistic.
It's realistic, man.
That's actually because there's no clear rookie that can. I mean, unless Matas gets a clean slate Bulls, but he's got Kobe White over there, and I got to prove it, Pat Williams. But let's not get off topic. We'll save that for the regular free agency pod, which we'll end up doing one of these days, coming here soon. But Pistons loyal, we love y'all, man. I'll see y'all, bro. Con, make sure y'all follow Con because he loves Detroit. He loves the Pistons. So go follow him on Twitter. Y'all see the name at the bottom. At CP3_777. It's your boy, Opinionated MJ. Follow us at EMW_pod on Twitter. And look us up, East Meets West, a basketball state of being on YouTube. Subscribe, please. We need that. All right, y'all.
Okay. Appreciate y'all. Take care.